So what I'd like to focus on for a few minutes is how we can capture that important part of the appraisal that's about work-life balance, about resilience, about recruitment and retention in the PDP without it feeling inappropriate to you as the RO. So what do you think is currently inappropriate in PDPs?
If you produce a PDP that has as its target focus, let's say, reduce your golf handicap over the next year, or make sure that you take a holiday next year, it's very specific things that are not immediately and overtly recognisable as linking in with clinical practice and therefore improving the care of the patients. There may well be a legitimate reason behind those, but they become euphemisms for the reasoning behind it rather than an end in itself. And so it's a matter of having those discussions with your appraiser and coming up with a sensible articulation of why you need to have those elements thrown into it. Now, it may well be that you haven't managed to take a holiday for the last 2 years simply because of the workforce situation within your practice, through other partners' illness, through retirements, all the other issues that come forwards, and you've had to hold the reins on your own or with a limited number of partners, and so therefore not having a holiday is becoming quite a significant element and having an adverse effect on your work-life balance, on your ability to maintain empathy and sympathy for your patients and therefore deal with them in a sympathetic and appropriate manner on a daily basis. So if you just have it as a holiday, that's not a reasonable answer. It's how you argue as to why you need a holiday, what the issues are that led you to even think about the fact that you've not had a holiday, and how that's portrayed is what we need to be looking for.
You and I are seeing lots of GPs who are under stress. We can't recruit new GPs, we can't retain the older ones. Part of your clinical performance is about your ability as a person to manage your daily life. So whereas I would accept that not all elements of your PDP should be related to you as a person and what you're doing in your personal life, I do think it's becoming increasingly important that GPs recognise the pressure that they're under and manage that in an appropriate way. So one element of your PDP may be focused on your delivery of care to patients, but it's actually more focused on you. So what would you see as an RO is appropriate in terms of what you describe in that rather than inappropriate?
If we're using the example of not having had a holiday, then if you simply have, just I haven't had a holiday and I need one, that in its bland fashion is not appropriate. However, to improve the balance of the workforce in the practice, to enable everybody to take an appropriate holiday and therefore be in a better state and frame of mind to be able to provide care is legitimate. Exactly how that's worded is a different perspective, but it's all about the reasoning behind why there are issues and what you're going to do about those issues and what impact that will have on the provision of care within the practice as well as by you as an individual. That's what we'd want to see. The other aspect is that I wouldn't want to see that as being the only thing in the PDP, so it's one element of, and I'm quite happy with that being one element of, as long as it is then linked with some more clinical elements too.
So, as an appraisal lead, I kind of use the euphemism of the Daily Mail test. If I have a PDP in front of me that says, I need a holiday, have a holiday, by the end of next month I will have had a holiday, it's not smart, and a reader of the Daily Mail has no idea about the pressures on general practice, about why that actually could be very relevant to improvements in patient care. But I think, particularly you'd agree, Nigel, that for some doctors, having the discussion that gives them permission to let go of responsibility for their practice, which might be in a very difficult situation because of sickness of partners or retirements or the pressures that there are currently in the workforce, to give them permission to say, but looking after myself so that I remain well and fit and healthy to deliver good quality care is really important.
We're seeing increasingly issues relating to resilience being brought up in the appraisal discussion, and it seems to me more important now than ever that those issues are addressed. And I see it as part of the appraiser's role, possibly even to challenge the doctor who may be presenting a set of circumstances as though there is no way of changing them. Well, of course, I'm routinely finishing 2 hours late these days, but we all are, aren't we? Of course, I don't have time for a holiday, but then I wouldn't expect one. Of course, I am feeling as though I'm not sleeping as well as I was because I've got so much on my mind, but I wouldn't expect anything else. I see it as part of our role to challenge that and to say, well, what are the set of circumstances that have led to it being this way for you, and how could we change that? And if that comes up as a PDP at the end of the summary of the discussion, which is appropriate and is developmental and is likely not only to improve that doctor's quality of life but also the quality of care that he or she is able to deliver and the nature in which he or she is able to work with colleagues, then that for me is very important and entirely appropriate. But I do agree it shouldn't be the only thing, and it should be worded in such a way that it is clear as to where it has come from and how practical steps are going to be taken to achieve an outcome which is measurable and demonstrable.
I'd like to take this opportunity just to introduce the fact that we're going to develop the PDP about holidays so that we provide an example of how to take something that wouldn't pass the Daily Mail test, and without gaming it, we look at how to demonstrate where that need has come from within the appraisal and at how to demonstrate that the outcomes are ones that are actually going to have an impact on the quality of patient care.